The opportunity that you are waiting on is already in front of you. I'm going to say it again. The opportunity that you're waiting on is already in front of you. What if the only thing standing between you and the life decision that you want is you? Think about that again. You you the only thing that's standing in your way. Most people think that opportunity shows up in, flashing lights. They think that when it arrives, it looks obvious, which it's not. It's in front of you, but you have to position yourself to look at it. And it's stuff sometimes being like so obvious. That's not. We know that's not how life works. Opportunity usually shows up disguised as hard work. It's a business idea that you've been afraid of to start. It's that weight loss journey that you've been putting off. It's the application for that job or that position that you haven't submitted. It's the video that you haven't posted. It's the conversation that you keep avoiding to have. It's the opportunity that doesn't ask if you're ready. It's not asking if you're willing to do this. Think about this. Every successful person had a moment where they could have said no. They could have said no to a particular opportunity. Like, no, I don't want to do this. Like when 50 Cent had, vitamin water. When Nas was asked to invest in Ring, Lil Wayne was asked if he wanted to, support Drake, who's now the biggest rap star ever. Shoot, even when my mom wanted to marry my dad, she could have said no, or he could have said no to the date. There's a lot of things that happen in decisions. Even you, like in the position that you're in, you're not in the worst position, but what if you said no? Right? You could have been worse off. There's a lot of decisions that we make. Just think about it. Every successful person had a moment where they could have said no, and a moment where they could have stayed comfortable. Like, no, I'm comfortable. I'm good where I'm at. There's a moment when they could have said like, nah, this ain't it. But they chose differently, and they took a chance, and they took the step. You know what? I don't know. And sometimes you won't even see, but he's like, you know what? I'm gonna do this. And they move despite of being fearful, despite of having a lack of confidence. Today, someone is going to take advantage of that opportunity. Why shouldn't it be you? Today, somebody is going to get stronger. Today, somebody is going to start a business. Today, someone is going to change their life. Why shouldn't that be you? I remember I remember when I was with AT&T, and me and retail was not thinking. We were not on the same page. And there was an opportunity there to where we could split up. And there was just like so much stuff going on. And this was a new position they was getting ready to have. It was so much stuff going on. And I didn't need to take it. I could have gave it to somebody that's like, no, like, I don't want to split away from my stores. I want to stay here and keep doing what I'm doing. But if I would have did that, I would not have been in that position afterwards to where people could look at me like, dang, Larry really is one of those ones. Lamar is really one of those sales guys. So what ended up happening was they had a position to where we're gonna do a trial for 3 months. We're gonna separate you from the stores and we're gonna see what you can do. And I told myself, you know what, let me try this out. Because at the time there was uh speculation that the stores were feeding into the business reps, and that was the battle. Who's really closing these deals? Where I, and if you look at some of my early videos, I talk about you gotta take action because action builds confidence. So I had already knew that I was bringing in sales and giving it to some of the stores. I was already making calls myself. I was getting rejections, and also I was getting yeses, and I was coming in, 5 lines here, 10 lines here, small ones, 2 or 3 here. I was making relationships with, higher sales managers and working their accounts and bringing those in. And so I already knew what to do. I knew what my daily, I knew that on a daily basis I would make calls at a certain time. I would send quotes out. I would set up meetings, and then I would once I get the yeses, then I will bring him in. I'm gonna give him to the store. So I knew how to do it, right? And so that's where I had built the confidence. The confidence was built in with the actions I made beforehand. I knew how to make calls. I knew how to set up appointments. I knew how to set proposals. I knew how to run meetings. But it was because I took those actions beforehand that built up the confidence. So when the opportunity presented itself for me now to be an individual seller for 3 months, separated from the stores, I was cool with it because I knew what I could do. And I knew, like, hey, if I could bring this money to myself, I could bring in more. I could make more money because I have already put the action beforehand. And because the action beforehand came and I was successful, the confidence was already there. So now when the opportunity presents itself, I'm jumping at it. Yeah, let's do it. And now when that happened, now I'm one of the top salesmen in the nation doing this. And they like, dang, Larry, like you. People were surprised. But you know who wasn't surprised? Me. Because I'm him. I've been doing this. I've been told y'all this is who I was. My stores suffered when I wasn't there. Because I was the guy. Because I put in the hard work. And then the Bible talks about, it says, God will make your enemy your footstool, and that your gift will make a way from you and put you in front of great men. Because of what they said against me and how they thought they was going to set me up, they put a spotlight on me and I shined. Because I took advantage of the opportunity that was ahead of me. And I had the confidence for that because I had already put in the hard work beforehand. So because the hard work was already put in, and when the opportunity presented itself, and when somebody was trying to set me up and let's see what you can do on your own, I shine brighter than them. Now, what you gonna say to me? Now I can call my shots. No, I'm not going. Now when they give me the stores back, nah, I'm not gonna go. No, I think I'm gonna do my own thing. No, I'm not gonna join this meeting right now. I'll email you. I can do what I can do what I want now and still get the same results. Yeah, some people might call that arrogance. And I get that. But is it arrogance when you can back it up? Is it arrogance when you have the results, when it's a fact? When you get your back put up against the wall, but you know you're going to shine? I just call that confidence. I call that showing up when it was called for. You try to bring me down, but the Lord put me into a position to shine. And I had that confidence with myself because I took advantage of the opportunity. Opportunity is waiting for you. No, your opportunity is waiting. You just have to put the action behind it, because your opportunity won't always be there. But it is there. You just have to activate it, if that makes sense. The question is whether or not, it's not whether if the opportunity exists. The question is, when it calls, will you answer? The question is whether it's when it calls, will you answer? And if you've been positively affected by this video, keep following the Larry Motivates channel, because I got more where this is coming from. I'm going to be here. How about you?